Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Amazing Race. We are talking episode 5, and this was a good one. We had everyone all back on the same playing field this episode,
hmm
and when everybody was leaving the mat, we just got first, second, third. We didn't even get their times because they were equalized.
I know that was the first thing I wrote down was expedited start. That was like the fastest we had
Yeah.
gotten everybody starting the whole time. So
Let's
yeah,
keep it moving, everyone.
let's
We
get
got a
going.
flight to catch. Yeah. So they are going to Croatia this episode. And really not much to start off the episode with. We have
hmm
the placements, how they left how they clocked into the pit stop. Were their placements leaving? There was no times, there was no anything. So we are just gonna go right into the first thing that they get hit with, and that is a detour, Fisherman Hall or Skinnamal. And it's a
Yeah.
0.5 mile delivering a fishnet, picking up chum, and then you had to also skin a monkfish for the other side of the detour.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on which one we should do because I like the detours have been pretty equitable in terms of
Mhm.
like which one like sucks worse. So I'm gonna say that we do the skin 'em all. Um,
I agree. I used to skin fish because I
that's
was a
right. Yeah.
fishmonger. I know a little bit about the monkfish. They actually call it the poor man's lobster because it tastes a lot like lobster, but is a lot cheaper.
One of
And
Gordon Ramsay's favorite ones to use.
yeah, I've sold many a loin of monkfish. But I think with that demonstration, I think we could easily just get it done. I mean, you
Mhm.
cook too, so
I do
maybe
cook,
that.
yeah. I've never broken down an animal, but I think it would be easier than carrying a heavy net because those teams with strong guys
Mhm.
were having trouble with it.
Yeah.
So I think that skinning the fish we could do much more easily than
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, so we had Tucker and Eric, Jas and Jag, and Joseph and Adam all do the Fisherman Hall, and they all actually completed it before anyone had skinned a fish because
Mhm.
it was a little bit more meticulous for what they were looking at for the fish, and this was just a grunt, like, let's get
Yeah.
this done. Um, I mean, we did have the U-turn, so two other teams also did the Fisherman Hall, but these 3 chose to
They
do it.
chose to do it. Yeah.
And they all had, like, the net falling all over the place, and
Yeah.
then we saw Christine and Rabina get U-turned for this side of the detour, and they're itty bitty. And I was like, how
Mhm.
are they going to do this massive net? And they're so small. But they actually bundled it all up into one net and were dragging it around, which I thought that was actually really smart
Mhm.
because then it's a lot more manageable because it's in this like bigger net and it's not falling out.
Yeah. Yeah, they had to come up with a different strategy to get this one done. We saw a few different strategies, like Eric was just carrying it by
Mhm.
himself, and then you had, the other guys, try that's not a thing really that you can carry, with each other because it's a net,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like
It's
you can't
pretty
just
hard.
2 people pick it up really. So, yeah, we had some different strategies for a
Mhm.
grunt type of task here.
So then we had Natalie and Stephanie finish the skinning first. And we found out Natalie does better with instructions in Spanish. Which I never realized that her first language was Spanish. I thought it was English.
Mhm.
So that was interesting to learn that her brain works better with instructions in Spanish.
That was interesting because, like, I'm not bilingual, so I don't know what it is like to, think in like 2 different languages
Mhm.
and have to follow instructions. The only time I've ever heard her speak Spanish before this was when she was flirting with Johnny Bananas. So this, I think, was a cooler, a cooler scene here to see them talk in Spanish and like go back and forth between Spanish and English. I thought it was a cool character moment for them.
Yeah. And then we have Taylor and Kyland leave next, and they are starting to, chip away at that top placement. They're kind of getting in that like upper middle section here, and being able to perform well in challenges. Izzy and Paige are next, and then Rabina and Christine, and there were some issues with navigating to the next section where the U-turn was. There were two bars with the same name, but they're like not.
Yeah, that was weird. That was so strange, and they didn't seem to be that far away from each other. So, I don't know if it's like there's a Starbucks on every corner here in America. If there's a Visa bar on every corner in there, so.
Chelsea and Jack finish next, and then Hannah and Simone are like, all right, wait, maybe we should switch. We're not getting it. Hannah is a med student, so she figured she would be able to skin this fish, and I think she was doing well, but Simone was having a tougher time with what her fish needed to look like. They wanted to switch and were looking where to go, and then Chelsea and Jack finished, and they were like, we just have to stay here because we can't keep time navigating. So they actually switched back to
yeah.
Stonewall, and they finished last. But at the U-turn board, we have Jag and Jas and Joseph and Adam U-turn Izzy and Paige and Christine and Rabina respectively. And I loved Izzy's reaction to this of like, I just need to be mad right now.
Yeah.
I just need to be pissed that this guy did this to me. I hated him before. I hate him now.
Oh yeah, Izzy is a character, like to the highest order. Sure, yeah, that reaction was so funny. The double middle fingers. Yeah,
getting the
that was
episode
such a
title
reaction
too with the I just need to be a little mad right now.
Yeah.
But what was more interesting is Taylor and Kyland arrive to the U-turn board after everything has been done. Tucker and Eric decide not to U-turn, and then Jas and Jag and Joseph and Adam were the next two groups there, and they decide to U-turn. And then Taylor and Kyland walk up, and Taylor's like, oh, 2 male teams, U-turn 2 female teams. What's up with that? Seems like there's a gentleman's agreement. And I was like, you know what? Call him out. Call him out. Because are they that threatened by these teams that have been like not super consistent toward the top of the pack? Like, you're not gonna want to. Jas and Jack, I know they're an alliance, so they won't. They should U-turn Joseph and Adam, or they should U-turn Taylor and Kyland, who are doing well or have an express pass. My thought was, why don't you U-turn Jas and Jag and Kyland and Taylor to burn their express passes here?
Yeah,
that is like the least. I wouldn't say least blood, but like that is like a thing of, I'm not setting you back because you have an advantage.
Right. And I had to look up the rules on this because I forgot, but yeah, you can use an express pass to get out of a U-turn, at least one side of the detour. So yeah, this would have been a great opportunity to make them burn that, because now Taylor and Kyland are still up at the top of the pack and they still have their express pass. So that's a team that you're competing with that now still has an advantage that you could have gotten rid of. Now I understand why Joseph didn't do it, because like they, that's his ex.
There's a connection,
But for Jas and Jag,
maybe
I was
they
surprised.
Didn't want to burn the hand that fed them.
I guess, but I mean, I don't know. I guess that was probably what they thought, but Yeah, I thought that they definitely should have U-turned Taylor and Kyle. And then for Joseph and Adam, like I know it was a bad look to have them U-turn like a woman team, but their reasoning was like, we want to save our friends. You know what I mean? Like we want to give them a chance to catch up. So, obviously like Christina and Izzy, they have a right to be pissed. They got U-turn,
Yeah.
But it's like, I thought that the episode did a good job of showing you the whole like story, where it's like, here's the strategy for why we're doing this, but then here's the other teams, like, they saw it a certain way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really got the full picture here.
Perception is reality to
That's
some teams, and that could almost even force the gentleman's agreement too, because
that's what I was gonna. I also thought it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where it's like, oh, you think we are all working together, you're coming after us. Well, I guess now we have no choice,
right,
but to work together. So we'll see. And you saw Jas kind of try to make nice with Taylor at the roadblock, like, hey, we're working together, right? Hey, we're gonna look out for each other. So they're already trying to like, backtrack.
I thought it wasn't a good idea for Jas and Jag to U-turn this early, especially when they're so far ahead. Like in my head, they're in second place right now. Just keep running the race. Nobody's really going to catch up to you.
You don't have to U-turn anybody.
I think the U-turn here should have been someone for like Taylor and Kyland, Izzy and Paige, Christine and Rubina, like some of the teams that were back in the back of the pack or like halfway through to like really secure their spot and put two teams for sure lower than them. Like if Chelsea and Jack and Hannah and Simone, right? When it got the U-turn, then Christine and Rubina or Izzy and Paige, who might have like U-turn them, would get their solidified spot. Or if Hannah and Simone used the U-turn for Chelsea and Jack and Christine and then they would have had like a easier time completing this leg of the race. Like what is it doing for Jas and Jack and Joseph and Adam?
Well, they didn't accomplish anything by doing this.
Except for
both of those, except for pissing them off, because both those teams are still here. And so their strategy, I mean, it backfired. The whole thing is bad. The two teams that they tried to U-turn are still here. The team that they wanted to keep in Hannah and Simone is gone. So yeah, this worked out poorly. And I think, sometimes you just got to walk right by the U-turn. It can be tempting to just like, hey, we're here first, let's just do it. But like, it's not always the right choice.
And also by putting Christine and Rubina on, you anger Tucker too, who's in first place and is hitting a bunch of these advantages first. So if there, is another thing where they can do like a driver's seat situation, then you're screwed at the max penalty.
Yeah.
One other thing before we get to the roadblock, I loved the way Rubina and Christine talked with Izzy and Paige when they met each other, kind of to do the next part of the detour of like, I'm not gonna ask, just so you know, we're both fighting for last. That's a kind of a dick move to put you guys in that situation. So I'm not gonna ask. Run a good race. We'll hopefully see you at the finish line.
That was funny. I haven't really seen that before, but yeah, it makes sense. It's like we both know the deal here. Now, if I was Rubina, perhaps I may have like asked them, and of course they're not going to tell you because they're in a race, but then you can like sort of use that against them later. It's like, well, you guys didn't help us. Like, like you have like a built-in excuse.
What are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
We're also last.
It doesn't make any sense, but it's like this was funny from both of these teams here.
Okay, so roadblock, who feels like everything is going downhill? This one was interesting because the clue box was past the assembly station. So you could get a hint that it's at least assembling the cart and, you know, put that person who is better at assembling things to the roadblock, which I didn't like because I like that roadblocks are a little bit more blind, aside from like, oh, we're next to a tall building, but not like, oh, we're confirmed building a cart.
Yeah. It's like it would have been more interesting if the teams like were at the finish line, had their clue there, and it's like, oh, we're gonna race. But then you get all the way back there and it's like, oh, we got to build something first, right? Like you get the surprise there. I'm going to say that I'll do this one because I did construction for a while. So I like to think that I'd be good at assembling things.
Yeah, I think this one would be pretty even for both of us, where we both be like,
yeah, I think that this would be an even one. But this will even us back up.
Construction skills.
Yeah. So now we each have 3 on,
all right,
on the list here. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Yeah, this was, I guess, deceiving, where it seemed like an easy construction, but then the bolts were different lengths. You don't know which bolts go in which spot, and Joseph got one bolt stuck at one point.
Yeah.
Because it's putting the back wheels on and the front one wheel and being able to navigate the you know, turning part of it. So it seemed like it was pretty easy, but then as people were constructing it, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard.
For sure. Like if you're building like a chair that you got online, you know, you have all the tools, you have the instructions right there. And so it's like, oh, you know, this isn't too hard. But then when you have no instructions, you have to figure out,
you just see
intuitively
the chair.
How is this going to work? Yeah. It can be a lot more challenging. So everybody had a bit of a challenge. Well, not everybody, but a lot of them did had a challenge.
I felt the burn of, oh, I put this together wrong at first and then put it together right, because typically when I'm assembling furniture and things like that, I put one thing together wrong and then realize I did it wrong and have to redo it and do it again. So
it's a tough feeling. And then this was only half the battle, because then you have to race. You don't have to win the race, but you've got to get down there in 36 seconds, which was easy for some people and not so easy for some others.
You could also rush through the assembly of your cart and then have to
oh my god,
through the hill.
Oh man.
Jag was just a mess.
How? Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Because you're right. I mean, just that is like the third part of this, and he built his poorly. But then you have the other teams.
He didn't tighten anything with like
that's how it's falling apart. Yeah, I mean he did it all wrong. And then you have the other teams who were there towards the end, and they had to do this so many times that like their thing was starting to fall apart. So Jag just did it poorly. He lost his screws. You know,
Natalie also a mess, but just at the building portion where she just realized that one thing wasn't tightened enough and she had it correct the entire time. She just didn't
I think she had to tighten the inside before she could move to the outside, is what I think I heard her say. So it's like, it sucks. She had it right. She just didn't tighten it enough. So that made them fall a little bit in placement. The real struggle was Simone, Chelsea, Paige, and Christine. They struggled. They were going up and down that hill so many times. What I noticed with Chelsea, I think she was trying to use her feet for more power, but the feet were throwing her off in like direction where she would like pump a foot and she would pull
into a wall or something that was on that side. And I was thinking, like, it probably should be all arms, because you can still navigate with your arms by like pressing down, then you drift one way, press down on the other hand, then you can, steer with your arms instead of trying to use the mechanism. I mean, Natalie was on her knees and just like swiped at the pavement.
That would be a good strategy.
Yeah.
I think that was some good technique. Simone kept crashing into the tire barriers.
So many times teams were 1 second off.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's brutal.
It was crazy.
So brutal.
Paige got a wrench for her 16th birthday and was like, yeah, I'm excited to build. I got a wrench for my 16th birthday, and built her car in no time, where Simone was kind of looking over Paige and Christina's shoulders of like, how do I put together this car? I'm kind of lost. Yeah. And they're like, we're battling for last. Go away.
Yeah. She didn't take a page out of the Rubina playbook there.
Yeah, right. Ultimately, we had Chelsea. Finally, she was there the longest, going up and down this hill. Get it first out of these three. I felt bad for the guys that had to keep going down, because they had to have 4 racers at the.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had
these guys that are just keeping to have to like sled down this hill.
I wonder how many races they had to do.
I know,
all put together. Because like we saw last week, Joseph and Adam, was it 120 something?
Oh my god,
130 something thing.
Yeah, and the rings.
The clown was there, and the ring and it's like they have to do this over and over. I mean, how many races did these guys have to run? Like 200?
I know. Especially because there are only 3 of them. So like when they all had to race when Tucker was going, when Jas was going, and like they would then step out as other amazing racers would be eligible to go down the hill. So like when Simone, Chelsea, Paige, Christina were there, nobody else was racing. But as everybody started to leave, especially when Simone was just by herself, running and running and running and running.
Oh my gosh. I wonder how many times that actually took.
Yeah. So we get to the pit stop, and Tucker and Eric are our first place team and win 5K. Congrats to them.
I wanted to comment on the 5K. I believe that's the 3rd time we've seen that already this season as 5K as a prize. So you can
probably cheaper than the trips.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Every other leg 5K?
What it seems like, because I remember it was in leg 1, so I thought, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, they're cutting back on the trip, because those are probably quite a bit more expensive than that. A few times more expensive than the $5,000. So I took note of that.
Nice. Kylan and Taylor are here at spot number 2. I mean, they shot up this leaderboard
with no express pass needed. So they're a dangerous team now, because they were like towards the back of the pack, 9th, 9th, then 4th, and now 2nd with an express pass. So yeah, they're right up at the top of the pack now. And this alliance, they were that they're not in, but with the guys, and
they're Natalie,
like they're in the middle.
The alliance.
They're around the alliance. So it was like nice for that alliance when they were, all the top 3 teams and whatever. And now we're going to see the strategies. Like they can't just wait around to help each other anymore when you've got these 2 other strong teams that are now ahead of you in the pecking order. So that alliance, I would assume, is going to kind of break apart, or at least just not help each other as much.
Because Jag and Jas, Joseph and Adam, and Natalie and Stephanie then check into the pit stop in the next 3 placements. So the alliance is still grouped together.
Yeah.
But timing wise, checking into the pit stop, they could be hours apart.
It could be. And if there is another driver's seat, which I don't know if there will be, but now they don't have the power, right? They can't control what happens now. So
yeah. And Jag and Jas, Joseph and Adam have used their U-turn if that comes up again. So Then we have Jack and Chelsea still kicking it in this race. Jack and Chelsea, I thought were going to be one of our next teams out.
Oh, me too.
They keep staying in it and staying in it. Izzy and Paige and Christine and Rubina then finish next with Hannah and Simone in last place. Simone just could not get that kart racing, and I'm really excited to watch next episode to see the fallout of the Izzy and Paige and Christine and Rubina once everybody sees that the two U-turned teams are still in the race. Because I don't know a time that a double U-turn team didn't go home.
Yeah, both of them are still here, which is kind of incredible. Hannah and Simone kind of like had their chance, and they just couldn't get it done. But that was such a nice scene when it was just them, and Hannah was just
and
like,
she came down to the end of the finish line and was cheering her on instead of like being up top. I thought that was a great ending, and I'm glad that they kind of let her finish
instead of coming out
or just like calling it and saying like, all right, just head over to the pit stop, you're last.
That was a great scene, and so it's a shame to see them go. But yeah, next episode is going to be interesting. I would actually like a second equalizer here for the second leg in a row, just to see all the teams together, right? Like say they have to go to the airport and get a flight that's not for 12 hours or something. And, all these teams have to hang out with each other in the airport. I think that would be fantastic.
So
this is a prime opportunity, because especially when you have somebody like Izzy, who was one of the teams that got U-turned, this is a golden opportunity.
It's a perfect opportunity for Izzy to be like, what the crap? And then Tucker to see like Rubina and then them talk and be like, yeah, we got U-turned by Joseph and Adam, and Tucker's like,
I don't know
if those guys. I don't like those guys no more.
that was perfect.
So I'm happy that Tucker and Eric, they were my next team. I was debating between Natalie and Stephanie and Tucker and Eric for the team that I was backing this season. I love Tucker so much, so I'm happy that they're in the lead. Now we'll see if Kyland and Taylor can do something about that.
So my two teams, the preseason one was Kyland and Taylor, and then the post episode 1 team that I was backing was Tucker and Eric. They're top 2 right now.
Yeah, there you go. And Natalie and Stephanie fell now a little bit. They're going back to their 1 placement, but
I think they'll be back up. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. They are one of, I think, the strongest female teams that we see, because a lot of the Amazing Race, you don't see those female teams win. It's very few and far between that we get that win. And I think Natalie and Stephanie, also Paige and Izzy are a decently strong female team too. So I think this season really brought the gusto for the teams. So I'm excited to watch the rest of the race.
Oh yeah, we're almost halfway through it.
Yeah,
hard to believe.
Crazy. Alrighty, everyone. So we will see you next week for another episode of The Amazing Race. Goodbye, everyone.